December 10th, an important day for human beings. Just like our environment is not good, so we have environmental days. And if we disrespect or maltreat animals, so we have, Save the Whale or Save the Animals Day. And ironically, the highest level of species in the world, the human beings, they have to self-police and highlight December 10th, United Nations Declaration of Human Rights Day. So today, on this day, we had about 200 members, mostly of the Sikh community, and a sprinkling of Americans and also minorities of India. They got together in front of the San Francisco Consulate General to state that recently a gentleman by the name of Gurbaksh Singh, who fasted for 22 days in Punjab, India. The reason for his fast was that there are 5 people he named in particular. There are many, but he brought a list of 5 people. People who has been sentenced by the Indian state in his so-called fight on terror in Punjab and so-called to stop activities against the state of India. So these 5 gentlemen have been jailed. They have served their sentences, some 15 years, 20 years, and they are not being released. Even after serving the sentence, the most stiffest sentence by the courts, serving it out, and they are not being released. So Gurbaksh Singh, he personally met some of them, and in particular one man who basically became handicapped in the jail and needs to get out. So Gurbaksh Singh set a fast until death for the release of those 5 people. The most emphasis Gurbaksh Singh wanted to draw of the world's human populace was to the fact that there are many prisoners in India. Many, not only Sikhs, but Christians, Muslims, even low-caste Hindus, and many Moolnivasis. So Gurbaksh Singh wanted to bring the plight of those who have not been heard, those who have been mistreated, to the Western free world, to other free worlds, to other free societies, to prick the conscience of his fellow Indians on the plight of their fellow Indians. So today, many members of the community here, the Sikh community, they went to the Indian consulate to protest the forceful disruption of the protest by Gurbaksh Singh. It also was December 10th, the United Nations Declaration for Human Rights Day. And having said all this, and the question comes to the forefront, where does the United States stand on human rights today? Especially keeping in mind the post 9/11 scenario, and we have done our share of mistreating innocent people, which has been factually documented by our fellow citizens across the world. We might not like to hear, but the United States is the beacon of human rights during the Cold War. So it's quite ironic that the stability factor of human rights in the world, the United States itself, has become critical. It has become, it's been criticized by free nations that it doesn't respect human rights. So it makes our human rights battle even more challenging. Nevertheless, there's always a ray of hope. Humanity survives on hope. If there's no ounce of humanity, there's no ounce of hope, then there will be total despair and chaos, which vast majority of the world gets caught in. So the US Congress, Congressman Pitts, and his fellow cross-section of the bipartisan approach, Democrats and Republicans, they have came up with a bill. It is called House Resolution 417. House Resolution 417 is one of the most strategic and the most important landmark House resolution. The resolution simply wants to remind both United States and India that in their quest for a better relationship, they should not ignore the plight of the minorities of India. They specifically mentioned the destruction of the Babri Masjid Mosque, the killings and rapes and tortures of the Muslims. They also mentioned the killings of the Christians and many other minorities such as Sikhs who have been oppressed by the Indian state. 417 wants India and US relationship to have in its cornerstone the just treatment of minorities and religious minorities of India. It specifically calls on dialogue initiated at the highest level between minorities, religious minorities and different groups of the Indian subcontinent to have a dialogue with each other. And it specifically calls for the Indian state to initiate teachings, initiate lessons, initiate a dialogue, and also initiate institutionalized respect for minorities of India. It applauds the United States effort and blacklisting Modi, who is the butcher of Gujarat, who killing so many Muslims, initiating the violence against minorities, Muslims initially, and recently the Sikhs. He forcefully had many Sikhs of the lower caste denomination, although the Sikh religion doesn't believe in caste, but these are poor people, the Moolnivasis, and they've been told to vacate their lands, and with lands which they have toiled for 50 years. They suddenly are told to just leave their homes. This is all election time politics, and that's what the 417 addresses, that the election time politics must be exposed, and that's part of the language of the bill. So I think putting the onus of responsibility on the nations that want to develop closer relationships amongst themselves, I think this is far-fetching and having a very far-reaching implications. 417 is a must. And here comes an opportunity for not only non-Indians, but Indians, even our Hindu brothers and sisters. Let's take responsibility. Let's see how we can help to protect human rights. Human rights can be best protected. Like Guru Nanak said, Nicho hu at neech. He said, I will stand with the low of the lowliest. I will always stand with the oppressed. And this is what the Sikhs must do. They need to stand with the oppressed of the world. The oppressed, whether they are in the African nations, the oppressed in India, the oppressed anywhere in the world. Even we need to address the situations here. If there's anyone being oppressed here, we need to stand up for them. This is the basic call of humanity, which is the call of Guru Nanak. The other way we can promote and have a very peaceful society in the free world is take the lead of the United States US Congress House Resolution 417. The House is a powerful institution in the world. It's got might, it's got pen, it's got money, it's got everything that it needs to dictate its will upon the world. The people with power, when they come to the level of those who are without power, in this case the US Congress via 417, is coming to the level of the oppressed in India, the Christians who were killed, the Sikhs who were massacred, the Muslims who were destroyed, and the Buddhists, and the Moolnivasis, and the women who are being raped left and right in India. So 417 comes to their level. Those with power are coming to help those without power, and the Hindu majority population of India need to take this, need to learn from this 417. They need to step up to the plate. They need to say, you know what, minorities in a democratic society, such as so-called democracy that India is called, where people vote just based on their caste, on their religion, on their fundamental ways of thinking. We have seen that. murderers are rewarded by unprecedented votes during elections. We have seen it for Modi. We have seen Rajiv Gandhi after Delhi's pogroms against the Sikhs in 1984. He unprecedented support for Rajiv Gandhi via votes, and this encourages other politicians to do crimes on minorities so they be richly rewarded in the election booth. That's what matters to the politicians. Having said that, please, let's focus on 417. 417 will benefit humanity. It will make sure that a relationship that is business oriented and strategically oriented between India and USA is on sound footing. There can be no relationship if the vast majority of India's minorities are unhappy, desolate, and without justice. To help HR 417, please visit the website www.ofmi.org. Please read the resolutions, contact your congressman immediately, contact members of the House Judiciary Committee, contact the Foreign Relations Committee, tell them to bring this bill to a success. Thank you.